Hello and welcome to the Indulge podcast. My name is Sonali, and today we have Rohini Manohar with us. She is a yoga teacher, better known as Yogini Rohini on Instagram, and she has been taking her students on all sorts of adventures with their yoga practice, from doing a Surya Namaskar under a full moon to practicing mindfulness in the chill mountain air at Dharamshala. I've personally done this with you. It has been quite the ride. How long has it been?
Now I've been teaching for almost 13 years. So
Wow.
a very long time.
And it's the perfect time to have Rohini with us because it is International Yoga Day this month. So what better time to have you on the podcast?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and especially with you, because it's been so long and I'm really happy to be doing this with you.
Yes.
Sonali is a very close friend, so I'm really
So we've
happy
known
to be-
each other actually from the age of 5.
Yeah, lived
Or
on the same
earlier.
street. Yeah.
We were neighbors. We shared a fence, and one of us would crawl through way back, Chennai Nagar,
Yeah.
5th Cross Street.
Yeah.
But today is also very exciting because we've met after 4 years, and
Yeah.
Rohini tells me that she is pregnant. It's so exciting.
Yeah, 5.5 months pregnant. It's been an interesting ride from denial to excitement to nervousness to actually understanding that my life may not be the same again. So it's been a roller coaster of emotions, but I think I've finally reached the spot where I'm excited about it all. And touch wood, the yoga has really helped. I have not puked once, not vomited, I've had no cravings. My body's doing really well, and I think I have to place all that thanks on my practice.
Yeah, on
every
the
day.
practice?
Yeah.
Are you planning to do like prenatal
So I
sessions?
do teach prenatal yoga, but I think I finally understand what it feels like. Like I understood it in theory, but now for the first time, like I'm 5 months pregnant, so I can feel the baby kick in my body. And I know during the practice, it feels really nice and comfortable. But the moment you lie down in Shavasana, my baby is having a dance party in my belly. So I understand why some things feel comfortable, why they don't feel comfortable. And up until now, it was mostly theory, but now I really feel it in my body. And I have extra respect for the women going through pregnancy. It's a big roller coaster ride of emotions, of watching your body change, and especially as a yoga teacher, I'm so used to seeing my body being slim and toned and comfortable. And now, for the first time in my life, if I climb 3 flights of stairs, I need to take a moment to breathe. And for me, who considers my health at the height of it, that was a shock. It was like, oh my God, what's happening? But it's learning to accept the body as it is, accept your mind through all the colors of emotions you experience, and embracing the journey, sometimes through fear and then through excitement as well. So it's been interesting.
Such an exciting time.
It is. It's nerve-wracking as well, in all honesty. I won't make it all perfect and beautiful.
You do not look 5 months pregnant.
Again, all thanks to the practice. Truthfully, most of my students in the studio don't even know that I'm pregnant. They still think that I've just eaten a nice big heavy lunch and I've come to class if it shows a little. But yeah, even that I think is because of the large amount of work I practice every morning. I do my pranayama every morning. So yeah, I think it helps a lot.
I'm so excited for you, really.
Thank you. I'm excited and nervous at the same time. But yeah, it's a new journey. And as I said, I think the biggest, scariest bit is like life won't be the same again. And that's okay. I think coming to that space is a big journey. So yeah, but I'm ready, I think.
So on that note, you said that it's like a new journey that's beginning. And I remember specifically meeting you before you started your journey as a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
You just come back from Australia. We went on a food review to an all chocolate
Yeah, I
spread.
remember.
Yes, yeah. And you were like, I think I'm gonna start a yoga studio. You had not been certified at the time.
No.
So thinking about a journey, do you remember what it was like before you'd ever done yoga before? Has it been a huge shift?
Yeah, it definitely has. I think I started yoga sincerely only when I was in Australia. I actually did practice yoga in school, much like most of us do, but I hated it. I thought it was the most boring thing you could do to a child, and it was like punishment. So I ran away from yoga as much as I could. And then when I went to study and work in Australia, a friend of mine said, you know, this is the best thing you could ever do in your life. And I was like, shut up. I come from the land of yoga. I know better than you. Until she finally paid for my first class. And I actually fainted in my first class. Because I was on my period. I hadn't eaten lunch. And I was like, this is what old people do. Like, I can hack it like this. And I went to my first class pretending that I was so fit and healthy. And halfway through the class, I just blacked out. And it was the first time I...
Blacked out before?
No, that was the first time I blacked out in the middle of the class. And I had the teacher like checking up on me. I opened my eyes and I was crying. And I remember coming out of the class. But it was the first time I learned to be really honest with myself. Like, although physically I may have looked fine, but I think my internal health, I was not eating on time, I was not sleeping on time. All of that just caught up on that day. I was on my period and I was ready to do a hot yoga class. Like, what connection did I have with my body? I was just pushing it to whatever nth I could because I could. That was physically, I started being really honest with myself after that first fainting session. And then I started crying, which meant I had so much emotion in me, which I happily covered under, yeah, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm the strong, independent woman, I can handle everything in the world. But that was not truthfully the case under the surface. And all of that just hit. The ceiling just broke and it showed. There was nobody to see except me. And I think for the first time, it helped me be really honest with myself. So it started there. And when I came back to India, I just knew I wanted to get on this journey. I did not know what, I did not know how, I did not know why. My mother thought I was ridiculous. Her first question always was who will marry a yoga teacher? How will I put this on Bharat matrimony? And I remember starting this space and my dad was like, oh my God, you're 23, you're still living in the house. You are earning no money. At that point, I was literally making as much or lower than what the housemaid made. So it was very embarrassing for a family that a well-educated woman who studied and worked abroad is now in this very poor condition. But I think that funneled my determination to just like do this as well as I could. So it was a slow start. It's gone through all sorts of messes. Like my first space got flooded with the Chennai floods. There was 10 feet of water inside. I didn't teach for 3 months, which meant I had no income, nothing. And then I built another space and that got blown away with the cyclone that happened.
Oh my gosh. I know the flooded story, but I didn't know about the...
Yeah, that's a hilarious story. I went up to like video the great winds and I was like, wait, that's a piece of my roof going away in the wind.
Oh my gosh, that's hard.
Yeah, so it's taken love, determination, and a willingness to just work at things no matter how challenging it gets. So it's been a great ride. I wouldn't swap it for anything else, despite the challenges. It's been a great ride and it has changed my life. From the girl I used to be in Australia, I was the girl that started her week every Thursday. I would party, like our party started Thursday.
You would party?
Wild, like wild.
What?
Yeah, I was the one that used to be like dancing on the tabletop of bars with like fire rings around my feet.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I have like, if you go to my old dorm in college, there'll be a line of puke. Like the paint has changed outside my window because I've puked so often outside my window. But from that person to who I am, again, the willingness to change and let go and allow yourself to evolve. I think a lot of us get stuck in this is who I am and this is who I am going to be forever and ever. But it's been, I think yoga has helped bring a lot of acceptance, a lot of allowing myself to grow in ways I never even imagined. And yeah, I'm really happy that it has happened the way it has.
Wow, such a different story from what one would imagine. Go to a basic yoga class, do a downward dog, feel tired.
No.
Be like, no, I don't want to go tomorrow. Like that's the usual. Yeah. What created the shift though? Do you know?
So when I started, it was at that point of time, like most people, now when I look back, I can tell you even more honestly, it felt like a good form of punishing my body. And I think we
Yoga.
all, yeah. It was hard, it was hectic. I was pushing my mind and my body. And somehow we've all gotten into the idea that exercise needs to equal pain and punishment and challenge. If it doesn't, it's not doing its work. So at that point of time, I loved it. I loved the thrill of pushing and finding the challenge and going even beyond it. And at that point of time in my life, I needed that discipline. But soon after, I've also understood, like, that's great, have discipline for sure, but you also need to be soft and kind with yourself. So it started as a rigorous discipline of showing up every day. And now it's like I will show up when my body is ready. I really respect my body. There's a lot of listening to myself. There are days sometimes I still don't listen and push. But from that girl, I've shifted to somebody who's in harmony with her body, who's a teammate with her body, like we're friends again. We're not just, it's not a dictatorship. I told you to do this, now do this. That's not the relationship with the body, where it did start off a lot like that. So that's changed in huge ways. And it's made me change as a person to the way I relate to other people as well. So
why become a teacher? A lot of people just stick to their classes and then, you know, focus on whatever their profession is. But you've literally done a 360. You were in a corporate environment.
Yeah. I used to work for the Australian government.
So this was never the plan.
No, it was not the plan.
And how did it become part of the plan? And
so I think I came to Chennai and I looked around, and every teacher that I went to didn't resonate with what I wanted. And I don't think I even mentally could put labels and say this is exactly what I was looking for a teacher. But it just didn't fit like any relationship. And then I was like, fine. I was an over-dramatic Hindi movie style. I'm going to the Himalayas to learn to be a teacher myself. With no intention of teaching, I did pack my bags and I left. And it was 1 month of bliss, joy of practice. And then I came home and somebody came and asked, oh, you're a yoga teacher now. Why don't you teach me? So it started literally like that. It was never an intention. Like I said, sometimes life takes unexpected turns with that one person asking for a class, and then you allow the turn to become a life journey. So,
and now you have 12 teachers.
Yeah, 12 teachers. I don't know how that's happened. About 200 students enrolling. So it's
how many workshops so far? I went to her Dharamshala workshop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Of course, my favorite part was the sadhana.
Yeah.
After all the like sweat and grind. Are you still a taskmaster?
No, I think I've softened down a fair bit. I still hold discipline in high regard, but I also understand people grow at different points of time, and you can't expect everyone to grow at the same point of time in the same way. So as I watched that for me, I think I've extended that to my students. So yeah, I have softened as a person a lot more. I've become a lot more patient. I don't get angry so quickly. So those are like some great changes that have happened with the practice as well. So
what is your favorite yoga trend at the moment?
So there's two things that really come to my mind. I think of late there's a lot of focus on mobility, and which is great, because I think for a long time in the fitness industry, it was just about strength or flexibility. There's either this or that you build. You come to a yoga class for flexibility, you go to the gym for strength. But and it was like split apart. But now there is this beautiful trend of bringing mobility back into the body, which means you allow your body to move in every direction it's meant to move in, versus, and making it accessible, making every movement accessible, which is nice. It started off like that in its original practices, but somehow as it got passed on, we became a very flexible, focused practice. And so that trend is really beautiful to see, because now it makes, like I have a 80-year-old grandmother who's doing, I'm cool, man. She's doing like high planks, she's doing handstands against the wall. And none of it is from, I'm pushing my body. But
how long did this take?
It took her, I think, about 5 months. But it's just beautifully come from the practice that she feels, I feel comfortable enough, and I give her space. I'm like, you don't feel comfortable, you come down and sit down in child's pose. But she's like, no, I'm good. And it's so nice to see people who want to try things are finally achieving. I've seen students do handstands. They've been practicing now for 3 years, 5 years. And finally it's happening. So it's adding into where they want to go physically. It's adding in really nicely. So that's a beautiful trend, I feel. And then I also like this new trend of adding philosophy to classes, which is great. Because it doesn't become about the body, it becomes a little bit more about your mind, about who you are, about self-introspection. So it becomes a nice little package of both ends, both being worked out.
Yeah?
So,
Do you want to give me like a quick philosophy lesson?
Well, the easiest thing, like the simplest thing is we all say namaste, right? And I say namaste at the end of my class. But the word namaste really means I no longer see you as you are, beyond the physical body, beyond whoever you are. I see you as another person that's just trying to grow, learn, evolve. So we put aside all our differences and see each other as one. And for the longest time, it used to remain a word. But now, when you say it over and over again, it becomes a practice of really allowing that person to be whoever they are at that point of time and giving them the space to be that. So something as simple as explaining that, or the stories behind the asanas, they're so nice. They add meaning to just Sanskrit names, and there's some funky pose that you're doing. So it makes the class more...
There's context.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
So I like that.
What's the story behind the tree pose? That's one of the hardest because you have to really be present.
Yeah.
And when you bend forward, you lean into it. Otherwise, you can't keep your balance.
So the tree pose is again from mythology. There's a story that there were two trees, and little Krishna was tied to those trees as a child because he lied about something, and he wanted to go across. And so his mother thought as long as he's tied to those trees, he won't run away. But as he moves towards the object of his desire, he pulls the trees and breaks them down. And the story goes, the trees were two angels that did something wrong. And then through Krishna's naughtiness, it changed. So the tree teaches you, one, to be rooted in where you are, but also to allow yourself to evolve and grow. That even that angel had to become a tree, and even that tree had to break down to become something else. So yes, stay rooted in who you are, but don't get too stuck up in who you are. So as you do the pose, you got to find your balance and got to find your perfect space. But just like the angels evolve to become even a basic tree, sometimes you have to do things you don't like. And from that basic tree, you'll evolve back to something else.
Oh, I like this.
So,
it's like a metaphor to identity.
Yeah. And you allow yourself to grow in whatever way needs to be. So these stories are great. I love them. I love stories. So, yeah.
Have you ever tried, so when I was talking about trends earlier, I was more thinking of, like I saw a YouTube video where they did yoga with some baby goats.
Yeah.
And we have
Poga.
Where we have yoga with puppies. And of course there's aerial yoga, and there's hot yoga, which was your first ever your introduction. So and there is a debate, right? That are you diluting yoga? Like where's the line? So that's one piece, and the other piece is just it's a new experience. It's fun.
It is.
And there's a different energy when you have puppies in the room. And how, like, what are your thoughts? What have you experienced?
I've done aerial, I've done hot yoga. Aerial is a lot of fun. When I started yoga, I had a lot of inhibitions about my own body, in my own mind. Maybe the world didn't see it. I thought I was too fat. It was impossible. I could do certain poses. So aerial really helped me get out of that mindset and be like, stop, this is just your thought, it's not reality. And so it helped me get comfortable going upside down, doing deep back bends, things that I didn't even think accessible became so much more accessible with aerial. Hot yoga started off as a great way to be disciplined, then it got too sticky, too hot. It's like India on a hot summer's day every single day. So it was a bit too much for me. I haven't done Poga, but I think I'd be too distracted. I mean, how can you do yoga looking at a puppy? Like, it's a sweet face. How can you do a practice like looking at that? I don't think I'd be able to concentrate at all. But if it works for people, I mean...
And now that you're a teacher and, you're sort of privy to trends, people are coming to you with all sorts of questions, and they're also coming to you with a lot of will you be my guru and show me the way? That's the end of every class. People coming to you with, a lot of different, apart from, because body issues often stem from, what's going on in your head. So is there anything that you found that you want to say, take a stance on and say, no, I don't approve of this, even though it's becoming a trend? Anything that has been on your mind?
Trends are trends. They start and they go. And as long as you don't lose the essence of it, that's okay. So I always tell them, go have fun. I mean, life is about exploring and having fun. Go have fun, but don't forget why you're doing what you're doing.
Don't forget your intention,
Yes,
which you said at the
absolutely.
beginning of every class. Yeah.
So as long as that's clear, then do it. As long as you know why you're doing what you're doing. If it was to have fun, then have fun. But if you're looking for, no, I want concentration, I want this, then maybe that's not the space for you. So seek what your idea is, or your intention, as you rightfully said, and then choose the practice of your choice. And no guru business. I am not in the business of growing.
I am not your guru.
Yeah, no, not because it's wrong or anything, but my teacher always told me, if you have students collecting around you, that means you're not allowing them to grow. You're keeping them stuck as students.
Right.
That
is a really lovely way of putting it.
And if you must allow them to grow and become better teachers than you, that's the job of a good teacher. But if you're collecting students, then what is your job? You're letting them stay stuck as that level. So I think ever since he told me that, which means I can't be his student forever as well, it really stuck across.
It's a shift in perspective. Yeah. So I was going to ask about parts of yoga that are not part of the physical aspect but part of the mental aspect, and also things like food and just the lifestyle. How does one take it beyond the class, right from mindfulness and awareness and surrender to just making it a part of your world and not an isolated piece in your day?
I think yoga already gives you that. The 60 minutes you practice in your class, that's where you practice your discipline, you practice staying calm despite practicing in this horrid heat that is Chennai. So you learn various things. And the idea is that those habits don't just stay for the 60 minutes, but you practice those habits even when you leave the class. And I would say sometimes that's the responsibility, the onus of the teacher, to remind the student that your yoga class is not just those 60 minutes or 90 minutes or whatever you practice. Your yoga class is life.
But are there some actionable ways that you have been able to do this?
I think a daily pranayama practice is very helpful. On the days I have too much to do, I'm really agitated, a simple nadi shodhana or an anilom vilom is a great way to calm my mind. On the days I want to eat spicy food and I'm really angry and agitated, I try not to. So it's like my teachers told me, real freedom is not in just listening to the mind, it's knowing when to say no to the mind as well. So I think that's all your yoga practice really is. So even you're angry, you're agitated, spicy food makes you more fiery by nature. So just say no. And most people know what healthy is. Most people know what wellness is. We just lack the willpower to employ it. Or we get swayed easily. So I think the key is just that. Do your daily practice. Your ritual is your ritual. You're the only one living in your body. So take care of it with a lot of love. Only one in your mind as well. So take care of it as well.
What's a good tip for people who say, I just cannot meditate?
Do your pranayama. Like 1 minute of pranayama is enough. I promise you, like simple techniques, and it'll give you like almost 5-10 minutes of blissed out silence. Mm-hmm. And there are some new techniques that they're old techniques that I've finally introduced back into the studio now. And gosh, I've seen people change phenomenally. Mm-hmm. So pranayama is a powerful tool. You are breathing every day. There's not anything new at all. It's just a small shift in how you breathe, and your mind gets to a whole new level. So,
is there anything that one can do during their day? Like,
yeah.
I remember Oprah said, my meditation is making my tea every day. Mm-hmm. Like things that are sort of easy enough to do that you're not completely concentrating, but you're in a zone.
Yeah.
Are there any practices like that that you recommend?
Journal. Simple way to introspect. And when you're eating, eat.
Okay, don't watch Netflix.
Don't sit on the phone. Don't think of the 500 million things that you have to do. I know I have that habit too. Our eating is never eating. It's a chore between things to just eat fully. enjoy the taste of things. Yeah. That's all. Just simple things. You do. It's not a very complex.
That's simple and so not easy.
It definitely is
Not
not.
easy.
I agree. It's hard.
And what is the most asked question you get from your students?
Over the phone before they meet me, I want to lose weight. Can I lose weight through yoga? And the answer is yes, you can, but you have to put the effort. It's not, people think yoga is like you just sit down and chill and relax. Put the effort, as much effort you put in, that much you can reap out of the practice. But yeah, it's the most common. I want to lose weight only here, only here. That's also
There
not
is no
possible.
spot reduction.
Yeah, I don't have a
Yeah.
liposuction machine in the class. So there's no spot reduction. Everything depends on your body type and what it's capable of. So yeah.
I thought we'd put the spotlight on some lifestyle-related common ones.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
PCOD,
All the time.
diabetes,
Yeah.
and what was the third
Hypertension.
one? Yes, I had one
Yeah.
more. Headaches.
Asthma.
I didn't know you could use yoga to help with headaches. Like
Headaches
I can't
is
even think of
mostly,
what the
yeah.
connection is.
It's stress-based. When you're highly stressed, headache. When you're dehydrated, you have a headache. So the headache is a symptom of something is cropping up in your body. Listen. So, but we look at the headache and we pop the pill and we continue life as is. So instead of really understanding. So when you start to listen to your body, every headache is, okay, I've overdone something. What have I overdone? Can I stop that? PCOD is rampant. It's a common thing. Now girls miss their periods. The periods are late. And I find that it actually breaks my heart. Your period is a report card of what your true health is. Not the face, not the body or the skin, maybe those two things as well. But if your periods are not on time, your internal health is at a complete toss. And most people are okay. I've even seen girls who have periods for 2 days. That's it. Like the length of the period has shortened. And this shows you're doing too many masculine things. You're pushing too hard. You're running all the time. You're not slowing down. Your body is telling you, but we just don't listen.
Did I tell you that I'm reading a book that helps you plan your life around your menstrual cycle?
I think that's great. I mean, if society evolves that much, it would be a great way to live life that way. Because you go through your own hormonal cycles. It's really important to respect the body as it goes through those things.
What can someone with PCOD do? Is there a specific pose that they can hold that you'd recommend that they can do in their house even if they're not going to a class?
Any forward fold and twist. Okay, forward fold is anything that folds your body in half in front, and any sort of a twist is great because your uterus and your ovaries are here. So anything that's going to squeeze open, that just works. That's all it is. So any pose that helps you go into those sort of movements will help. And apart from that, have a really clean diet. You know what a clean diet is. So just two simple things. But add these two and it'll help a lot. And sleep. People again underrate sleeping.
Can we just focus on the sleep for a second?
Yeah.
I need it personally.
Yeah. We sleep 4 hours and it's like, I slept only 4 hours. I'm so great. I'm going to come back to work. No.
Why has it become so hard to fall asleep? Isn't it basic?
I agree. I think our minds are always busy. It's like a fan, right? When it's on and I switch the fan off, even though the electricity is cut off, you will feel the fan running. So even though you want to sleep, you're trying to switch off the mind, it's still running. That's the only
I think I was watching a YouTube video with a psychologist, and they were talking about how if you have a gadget in the room, you know how they say keep your gadgets in the next room. But if you have a gadget in the room, your mind is subconsciously
always alert.
Yeah, thinking about without even realizing it. Yeah.
And the sleep is disturbed. We're always waiting for what do I need to do next? Who do I need to respond to? Your life is always about responding to somebody else versus taking care of you. Always. Because you don't know who's going to set the next deadline. I mean, they will live their lives even if you're a half an hour, 1 hour, 3 hours late. But I think we have slight FOMO. I don't know what it is. But it's and I know I do as well. The days I have big projects, I can be like that. I'm like always on alert. I'm like, I don't know what's going to go wrong. I need to be super alert. And then there are days when I can sleep like a baby. But it's just this mind is like always running.
So would you say whether a yoga practice or any form of sweat that you'd sleep much better?
Depends, okay? If you're like a highly active person like me and you do some more yoga, you'll just be more activated. For somebody who's a little bit more slower, the yoga will help calm them down. But for somebody like me, it's a meditation or a yoga nidra. You cannot give me a yoga practice at night. I'll be up like an owl and I'll be awake for at least another 5-6 hours because it's induced my body with more energy. But if you're not an active person, I don't mean like not inactive, I mean somebody who gets tired with the practice, then use it.
All right. And are there any like misconceptions that you've seen doing the rounds that you want to clear? Anything that you've ever come across that someone asks you a question based on something that isn't fact? You know how there's all these different yoga styles.
Yeah.
There's all of these different teacher approaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything that sort of you're like, no, you know how, and even with diet, right?
Yeah.
It's simple, but it's so confusing because there's just, you're inundated with information.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you found that is often confused one for the other that you feel like you want to clarify?
I don't know, like for me, instead of clarifying what's out there, each person has a truth about their bodies. What works for your body will not work for my body. Maybe it will, maybe it won't.
What's the best way to tune in?
I think it's just starting to see the signs. Simple things, okay? Now this is going to sound a bit weird, but simple things. When a new student comes to class, they sweat a lot in the heat. I can smell on their sweat what food is not working for them.
Serious?
I'm serious. I can smell your damn alcohol from the night before. I can smell the dirty thair sadam you've eaten that was too pully. I can smell everything. So I know just from standing apart and watching you practice what's not working in your body. All you need to do is wake. I know when you have too much milk, I can still smell it in your sweat. I know when you've had way too much rice, it's not digesting in your body, I can smell it on your sweat. Simple things is, it sounds so weird. Smell your sweat, man, and know what's not working for you, no? It's not a hard thing.
Oh, I love it. Great advice. Great advice.
I knew, okay, when I first came back, actually recently I took a break from all milk products. I came back and I had milk. And gosh, my sweat was just smelling like milk product. So I know it's not digesting well. Why do I continue ingesting it back in my body?
Sweat and also poop.
Yeah, again, taboo topics to not talk about. But look, your body is giving you daily signs of what's working, what's not working. Just look and decide, that didn't work. We're not going to touch it again.
Yeah. Once I wrote a pet column all about poop that you should, look for the signs.
Yeah.
And the headline was "Red Flags Straight from the Rectum," which I
That's
loved.
a smart one.
And it made me think of this. Okay.
Yeah.
So just be more alert.
Yeah.
And instead of trying to, just
be
more alert with what's going on by being sort of present.
Yeah.
Looking, smelling, feeling.
Yeah. You know
Wow,
that
that's
you're
a good
hungry.
one. I've never thought of this, even though it's such an obvious one.
Come to a yoga class, just teach and you'll walk around and you'll get to catch a whiff and you'll know.
Great advice.
Sorry.
Very practical. I just wanted to wrap up with how do we begin for someone who's never done a class before, or someone who's done it, but it's been a while, they've not been able to be consistent. How does one get into the zone and start?
I think human beings are social creatures. Find a buddy, a friend, somebody who will
to
take
keep you accountable.
Yes, really. Or just take them with you, or find a friend who's enthusiastic either about yoga, about whatever it is, right? And that helps. We like company. So why work in isolation? I know yoga sometimes feels like an isolated, solitary practice, but take a friend, a family member, and that makes life so much easier. My favorite practitioners in the studio are fathers and daughters, mothers and children. They've all come together and they've gone closer with the bond. So it's really powerful. Couples that come together, best friends that have come together. It's really nice. That relationship then evolves to being very deep, because sometimes in a yoga class you'll break down, you'll have tears, and it's the first time you're seeing your best friend cry in public.
Why does one break down? Apart from it being challenging.
No, sometimes yoga triggers emotional spaces as well. Like anything to do with a hip opening pose opens up a Pandora of emotions for some people. And in the studio, I try and hold space for all of that. But when their best friend sees it, the first reaction is, it's okay, don't cry. And then they've learned to be like, it's okay, now cry, I'll give you the tissue. So it's really nice to see that relationship from, are you okay? Should I bring you something? To, it's fine. Cry as much as you need. I'm here for you. And that's an evolution of the relationship. So I'd say to start, find a friend. Somebody who likes what you want to do And even if you don't, find somebody in the class who likes it and become their friend. And it makes
so
it
lovely.
a lot easier. Otherwise, it's a hectic thing to do everything on your own. So, no, do it with a friend.
Such good advice. On that note, I think that's a great way to end.
Thank you.
Very simple and easy to do. Happy International Yoga Day, everyone. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Thank you.